What's up, guys? Belmont here. So today we'll be taking a look at the second part out of every single boss strat contained in Symphony of the Night. Now, for those of you who haven't watched the first part, I'll leave the link for it on the description. It's pretty easy. You can watch it as soon as you're done here or right now. It's up to you. So first up, we have Maria. And I will be skipping certain parts. I will be speeding up certain parts because they're just too repetitive, like you're gonna see here. So he's gonna lock Maria into a pattern. He attacks, backs down so he doesn't get hit by the dove, crouches. Whenever a dragon approaches, he will crouch. And this is going to go on for a while. We're going to speed it up. And as you can see right here, eventually, I think it's at a certain health threshold, you do that fireball special. He avoids it using the mist. And for the rest of this fight, you see, the only thing that's a little bit different here is that sometimes she will use either the small white tiger or the fire wings. The fire wings, you back out of them. The small tiger, you jump over. And all in all, this strat is pretty solid. It's being done extremely well. And if you really want to make short work of Maria, then go for a dark sword. You should be dealing like 89 points of damage at this point in the game. So moving on. Now we have Rickster, and as you can see, this strat is for defeating Rickster, not the orb that hovers above him. You know, all you have to do is attack it. And he goes with the iron shield. He opens with the mist, I believe. Yes. And the iron shield will deflect the holy cross. So it's a deflect, an attack, deflect, attack. Now we have the bat. This is one of the first bosses you're going to face on the second castle. And it's pretty interesting to see here that, for example, it can stay below the bat. And I say pretty interesting because by this point in time, most of us will be so overpowered that literally this boss fight would have been over by now. So you can see, you know, stay behind him, always follow him, attack him, jumping whenever possible. Goes for the axe throw. Pretty standard boss. Again, it's very hard to die for this boss. Let's speed it up. See, same thing over and over again. All in all, pretty effective. And what we must remember about this tactics videos we are shown is that they're done on purpose, with Alucard having nothing but short swords and sub-weapons. And this is so we get to see the basic outline of what we do whenever facing each boss. You know, so whatever we may have in terms of spells, weapons, levels, is, you know, it's an increment. This is really base level strategies. Moving on. This, it's very funny because, first of all, no one ever uses the X armor. Okay, you get it by hitting the Librarian's chair. And check it out. The Mummy, one of very pathetic boss. Eekmoden the second, and he stun locks the Mummy. And this is how the fight goes. Go speed up. And done. Celebration jump. 2, 3, 4. And that is it for Eekmoden. No one ever cares about him. Next, we have the Medusa, another very pathetic boss. Like I said in the previous video, any boss where you can make use of the holy water is instantly trivialized. He is holding back here, you know, showing, hey, duck under her beam. But yeah, he could have just done that from the outset. Done. Really ridiculous. And for this next boss fight, I'm gonna label it as interesting, but still a little bit boring because he doesn't have that many attacks. You know, he'll attack. So what the player does is he's going with his Zweihander. He attacks, then backs out, jumps out of the rolling attack. You can catch him from the back if you're fast enough. The player misses sometimes. That's okay. We all do. And, you know, once the rolling stops, business as usual. This boss, there's not much to it. But, you know, it's a very functional strat. See, it goes on forever and ever and ever. Remember, Alucard is at level 1 here. Alright, the Green Reaper. Let's see it. I don't remember this one. I mean, the tactics video for it. So, that signature attack in, I believe, any Metroidvania it's appeared, are the flying sickles all over the screen. And they, depending on the game you're playing, they are a bitch. Like in Circle of the Moon, Ori of Sorrow. And you can see two skulls. He makes very good use of the mist. And here's... yeah, he's in a bit of a pickle here. But doesn't get damaged by Death Sprite. That's strange. Okay, backs down. He is playing it pretty safe because, remember, he is level 1 with 80 health. So I think 2 hits would kill him. He's taking his sweet time. I think he's playing it too safe. He could, you know, very well land at least 2 attacks. Don't you know? That's what it is. There's not much to it. It's kind of boring, actually. Speeding it up until they get to phase 2. Now, the second phase of death in Symphony of the Night is unfortunately also very pathetic. I like its design though, but you know, it's downward slash. And pretty soon that's gonna start throwing one of its sickles. There it is. So it's above and then below. So crouch and jump, of course. And that will eventually do those downward swipes. See, he gets hit once. He can only get hit twice before he dies. And this is a very good strat. Getting hit doesn't mean it's not a good strat. He was careless for a moment. But yeah, this is the strat. It's functional. It works. Now, the only thing I would have done would have been... I'd have used a lot more sub-weapons here. There's no reason not to. But again, they're showing the basic strats, you know, the most basic strats possible. So there's the swipes. See, over and over and over again, same thing, same thing. And it just goes on and on and on forever. Alright, so here we have Doppelganger level 45, I believe. 40. What he does here is the same thing he did against Doppelganger level 10, which is game the enemy's AI into making it jump, attacking, then the player goes back, jumps towards the enemy again. He keeps on repeating this. It's functional. And I believe the shield has something to do with this. Maybe the shield being up will alter the way the enemy attacks the player. I don't know if any of you guys have tried this. But let me know in the comments. I really want to know. I'm interested in all things Symphony of the Night. Done? Now, this is one of the most interesting fights in this boss tactics section. He fights Trevor, Grant, and Cypher. Check it out. Let's see it. There's quite a... this fight is actually very complex, because he has to watch out for Grant, who's fighting from the ceiling, and sometimes will drop to the ground. But the main menace here is Trevor. And there's also the fact that it will have Cypher making a cone-shaped attack downwards, which can really fuck his game up. You know, making very good spatial control. He's fully aware of everything that's happening. He ends up taking a hit. You know, it's kind of hard not to take that hit. Well, maybe if he had transformed into mist. Bit of a pickle there. Okay, right there, what I would have done, exactly, especially right now, is I would have changed sides because he's cornered, and you don't want to be cornered in a fight like this. And also, I would have paid a lot more attention to Cypher from the outset. You know, she's not the main threat, but she's there to interfere, to conduct interference in the battlefield. You know, once any of them go, and you're just left with two of them, it becomes a lot easier. Okay, so let's speed this up. Trevor's gone, and now Cypher is gonna enter stage 2, and she's gonna pull some attacks I never saw. Again, because I'm always over leveled by the time I get here. We all are. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Check it out. So she has no respect for Trevor. You know, come back here, you son of a bitch, fight for me. Okay, 3 spells. Very nice dodge. And she's down. Pretty interesting fight. And here comes the Lord of the Flies. This is one of the most disgusting enemies I've ever seen. So the strat he's going to use here is he's going to take his time. Remember, he's playing at very low health. So he's always watching out for 2 things. First, an opening to attack. And second, the flies themselves. Now, they attack in, I'm not going to say regular intervals, but it's one of those situations where you can get a feel as to when it's going to happen. So he's going to take his time. And he has, I think it was a circlet that would restore health when coming in contact with poison. You can see that whenever he steps on those maggots, he recovers health. If anyone can confirm this to me in the comment section. And here things get a little bit more complicated because, you know, he has to jump to see what he needs to attack, and the flies will be circling around, so the odds, the risk of him getting hit are much higher. But he does a phenomenal job. This guy really knows what he's doing. See? Now they come in bulk. A lot more of them at once. Now let me speed it up until it destroys the legs. Yes. Now the fight is going to get a little bit more intense because the flies are going to come in big waves, as you can see right there. And the player exercises good battlefield control. This is something you will learn to do if you play Soulsborne games, which is you don't necessarily want to move as far away as possible from an attack. Sometimes that can leave you at a disadvantage. So what he does is, when the swarm comes, he only moves as much as he needs to, in order to not to put too much distance between him and himself and his target. Really good player. Alright, Galmoth, the Widowmaker. This strat is actually very short and kind of funny. Check it out. Alright, next. Now we have Shaft. Not the cop. This, again, is another very complex fight. So we saw the fire pillars, the bouncing balls. And again, he has to pay a lot more attention because I think getting hit once here could kill him. So whenever they get those 2 bigger electricity balls, he will avoid them with the mist. And those fire pillars, you see that they'll always come at the same position, so he just moves to the corner and crouches. Really well done here. And one of the bonuses of the Alucard sword, he is using the Alucard sword, I can only assume, even though he's doing a lot less damage, because again, level 1, is that it attacks very quickly, very, very quickly. I think that along with Scylla, which is in the previous video, this is one of the most robust plays we're seeing in this tactics collection. It's amazing. Really good. Same thing whenever balls come around. Here you go. I'm talking a lot about balls. He's using the mist, and he's also very concerned about his MP because, again, he's at level 1, so he has very little MP. He can't fuck around like we would if we were at level like 64 or something like that. And now comes the big bad wolf. This fight reminds me a lot of the fight against Grant and Aria of Sorrow, I believe. Watch out for the hand swipes. Attacking the meanwhile, pretty simple. And of course, you know, Karsuman is so pathetic, he only serves as a sacrifice. How pathetic is that? So when Dracula hovers away, you can see how big his throne really is. And all he does is walk away from the spell. Really good, so far so good. And in here, he high jumps, goes into mist form. I don't know why he turned into the wolf coming down. Maybe it was a fumbled input. Avoided the triangle with the mist. Really good. This guy knows what he's doing. And this is it. This was, wow, 18 minutes already. At least before I edit it. I'm gonna leave it on something a little bit more interesting. Yeah, Eekmoden. No. I just realized something. Most of the second castle's bosses are really pathetic. But that was it for the strats, the analysis. We saw some really bad stuff. You know, some iffy playing, some needless stalling. At certain points, it was made to show us other ways of doing it. After all, they're showing us how to negotiate, how to tackle the bosses with as little resources as possible. But when push came to shove, this player, I don't know who he was, really showed a lot of skill, especially in the fight against Scylla, Shaft, and Dracula. You know, let me know in the comments your impressions about those strats. I'm sure you agree and disagree with me on many points. And it's been fun. I'm pretty much taken by videos like this. I want to make more videos like this for you guys because, you know, I like talking and I hope you guys like listening to it. So that was it for this video. Hope you had a great time and I'll see you next round. Belmont out.